Hello everyone and welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is Dragothien here, and today we're going to continue our Commander Ranker series, and this is going to be for the Epic Commanders. And it's likely going to be a little shorter because we just don't have as many Epic Commanders as we do Legendaries. Unfortunately, I wish there were. Hopefully that's going to be changing soon. We did just have one new one pop in, that being Kira, and I definitely have her in here ready to rock and roll. We're going to place her in this ranker as well, so you know if you should be pushing hard for her or not. That being said, we're going to jump right into it here. Again, this is for open field PvP. We're going to do the same thing we did with the Legendary series with the Epic Commanders so that you guys know what to use, because I still use some of these commanders in endgame on all my accounts. Like, some of these commanders could be considered legendary because of their capability on the battlefield or in garrisons or rallies. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get in here. We're going to go ahead and start with Cav commanders, and I'm going to get Baybars out. So Baybars is actually going to be in the best category. Now, he could go back and forth a little bit, because really his fourth skill is all about healing after the battle and movement speed, which is good for Cav. The third skill has to do with rallying, so that's not going to apply on the battlefield. So really there's only two skills of Baybars that apply on the open field PvP wise, like during the battle, right? That being said, those two skills are really good. So the first skill is a once expertised, which most of your epic commanders, if not already done so, should be expertised, and this is one that you should expertise. He has a 5 target AoE, 1,000 apiece. That's really strong. It's 5,000 if you're in the middle of a scrum, which a lot of times in open field PvP you are. That's really, really strong. It also has a slow, which is really good, and helps impact other commanders like Ethelfled and a bunch of other commanders that have enhanced damage while slowed. And then also, again, the second skill is a 20% attack, Cav attack. That's very strong. Usually for an epic, even with an expertise, that's 15% usually on any expertise. With Baybars, it's 20 without an expertise. So I think that's very strong, especially for Cav, where attack is so powerful. Nuke is so powerful, skill damage. So he has skill damage in spades, he has AoE, maximum targets of 5, and he's got attack bonuses. And at the end of the day, once he's done fighting and he pulls away, he gets a little bit of a heal, and he's faster to move around and get to the next battle. So I'm going to put him in the best category. Of the epic Cav commanders, I think he is the best of the three, just because of having all those versatility components for open field PvP, okay? So the next one is going to be Pelagius, and, you know, I got to put him in best too, just because, again, he is a critical component of any 5 army Cav group, and he does a lot of things well, right? I think he has a heal. He's got a little extra tankiness that way. He's got additional skill damage that's consistent and fairly decent as far as the total number goes for an epic commander. And if you pair him up with another commander like a Minna or an Osmund or anything with continuous skill damage, he does really, really well, because you can synergize those two from a talent tree perspective. So I think he does really well. Double C is also a great pairing with the double heal. You lose a little bit of defense with double C being expertise, but overall, that commander pairing is very solid and tanky on the battlefield. And again, Pelagius is a big part of that. And again, having the right type of trees as well. So you're looking at Cav and skill for that. 3 out of his 4 skills are geared towards open field PvP, plus his expertise. So, I mean, he just does really well on the battlefield. I'm going to put him as a best. The next one, the Bane of My Existence. It's going to be a Baybars. I'm sorry, a Belisarius. For open field PvP, that's what this is for. I'm going to put him in the good category. The only thing that makes me hesitate on possibly putting him in the better category, believe it or not, is he is basically one of the best farmer killers in the game-ish. But really double C's that way. So, but this is an epic version. We're going through this live on the video, guys. So, again, I didn't want to pre-rank these guys. I wanted to do them on the fly with you on this video. I'm going to still keep him in good. He just doesn't do damage. Like, his skill damage is very, very low. He's a mobility commander. So again, his main purpose in the open field, you should not be using him as a part of a 5-army, cav group or something like that, or certainly not as a top 2 or 3 army commander, okay? Especially if you have all of the commanders for epics available and even some of the legendaries. His only purpose in the open field is to harass farms, and if you're early game and you're late kingdom, you can use him during kill event if you have an open kill event policy to kill farmers. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I know that's a thing out there. So, I mean, he can be used in that regard, and if you're ranking him for that, he's in the better and best category for farm killing and for moving fast. But that's not what this is. This is an open field PvP, and what that means is part of a group that you can use effectively to cause damage in a group setting. So he's going to be in the good category just because he can be used and even peeled off to do those activities that I was just talking about, but not great for just overall damage output, survivability, that kind of thing, other than running around. Like, he does really good at running around and harassing farms. That's his thing. Open field PvP. Lohar is my next one because there's only 3 epic cav commanders. We're going to put him as a fail. He is not a PvP commander. He is a PvE commander. Again, he can be used. If this is all you have, absolutely he can be used. If you don't have some of the other commanders that we're going to go over in this video, you can certainly use Lohar, and it's fine. He's got a heal, he's got a nuke, but everything he does is geared towards PvE, whether it's XP bonuses or damage to barbarians. He's just a PvE guy. He's a PvE guy, so whenever anybody sees a Lohar on the battlefield, that's an immediate, instant kill. So put him in the fail category, and that'll be it. Boadicea, I'm going to put her in the better category strictly because she doesn't necessarily have a particular troop type, and some of her skills are geared towards PvE. So she's got an experience bonus and damage bonus for her skills for PvE. Everything else has a nuke or the enhancements to that nuke, or normal and counterattack damage bonuses and just damage bonuses in general. So she is good. She can be used. I prefer her used as a second if you're going to be pairing her up with anything, because again, she does not have one particular talent tree. She has an integration tree, I believe, or a versatility tree, one of the two. Or I think it's integration. So she doesn't have the ability to necessarily bring one troop type out and have it be super effective. So go full skill with peacekeeping. Make this one of your primary peacekeeping commanders, and you'll be in really good shape. I think she's in the better category because she does have a good heal. She does have a heal, but she has a really good nuke for an epic commander, and it generates rage and all that good stuff, which is good on the battlefield, but not great. It's not the best. Kira. So this is the one we were waiting on, I think, for most people. I think that she is still a bit of an enigma, but I'm actually going to put her in the best category because of a couple things. So first off, her AoE is very solid. It only hits 3 targets, which is weird because it looks like it should hit everything on the map from a visual perspective, but and it looks really cool. But it only hits 3 targets, but those 3 targets take basically legendary skill damage. Once expertised, she pumps out 1400 after the continuous skill damage factor from her main nuke. That's solid. That's really solid and better than any other commander on the ranker that you're going to see here. Now, there are some commanders like Baybars and Sun Tzu who you can max out to 5 targets, and when you add all those up, those can be a total more than what we're talking about with Kira. But when you're talking about just raw damage on a single target, Kira does pretty darn well. 1400 with the expertise done. The thing that makes her best, so that's good. That's all really good. But the thing that makes her in the best category is that skill damage enhancement. 80% skill damage when maxed out on that last skill. That's just normal play. That's not inside of Soroli or any of those types of modes, and that's definitely not just for PvE. That's for everything. So with that being said, I mean, that kind of lends towards using her with a Genghis possibly, or a YSG, because she's an archer commander. I I tend to look at her more as a peacekeeper because she can be used that way. But she, in the open field, can be used as a good secondary or a primary as in an archer group with, say, a Kusunoki or something like that, which we'll go over as well in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, she's kind of in the best category because she has something special. She has that skill damage enhancement of 80% on the open field. And if you're cranking out 80% extra damage with a Genghis or a YSG, oh my goodness. Just don't get targeted and you will wreck. You will absolutely wreck things. So she's definitely got to be in the best category. The only problem is you can only max her through the Soroli shop, and that only comes around so often. So it's going to take a while for everybody to get her maxed. It's kind of like the epic version of Ethelfled, but she's worth it. Get her maxed. Get her maxed, people. You're going to be in really good shape. Joan. I'm going to put her in the better category because she doesn't necessarily do damage on the battlefield. However, she is very useful for the open field PvP as a buffer, as a little bit of a healer when it comes to your own army. And yeah, I mean, she's good for the open field if you're not a main attacker. If you're that commander that comes in and is letting the people that are high tech and everything buffer the front line with the damage, that's what you should be doing. Coming in behind, buffing those players so that they do maximum amounts of damage while you're not getting instantly targeted down. That's what Joan is for, and she does that really, really well. So I would say better category because of her buffing capabilities. But she's not great, best because, again, she just doesn't do any damage. Like, she just has, just the buffs. She's a buffer. Scipio. Open field, he's good. Because he's a PvP commander, PvP commander, he's got to be in one of the top 3 in my opinion, because I'm putting the peacekeeping only style commanders in the fail, really, in this situation here. So, Scipio is a good commander. He does well paired up with other similar style commanders like him. He enhances troop capacity. He does have enhancements to normal and counterattack damage. Once you reach a certain threshold on your army health, he does have some healing capability, but he's not meant to be a primary, especially after the first couple months of a server or a kingdom being open. He's meant as a secondary to Sun Tzu, to Julius, to other commanders that are going to be benefited by getting more tankiness and also more troop capacity. So I would use him in that regard. He is good. He does what he does well, but it's just, and after the second month of a kingdom, you should never see him on the battlefield as a portrait because he shouldn't be primary. He should only be secondary. But he does have good things going for him, but he's just not up to snuff with some of the more specific troop commanders. Osmund. Osmund has got to be a best. I still use him, and kind of the way I'm kind of judging some of this stuff is I'm a top tier player as far as power goes and PvP and knowing how to fight, and I still use these commanders, with the exception of Kira because I haven't maxed her yet. But Baybars, Pelagius, and Osmund I use a lot, and Osmund is one of the best raw nukers in the game from an epic perspective, and you can pair him up with any nuker and it will work. It works even better whenever you pair him up with somebody who has additional skill damage like Pelagius or Kusunoki, because he thrives off of that, and you can spec into the latent power talent in the skill tree, and it will enhance not only the primary but also Osmund's additional skill damage that he has. He just fires off nukes. That's all he does, is just pound nukes out. So very, very good. He also increases troop capacity. Nothing wrong with that. One of his skills is for conquering, but I wouldn't mind that at all. All the other skills are just pumping out damage, and that's exactly what you want as an epic commander, pumping out damage, because you should not be on the front line tanking that damage. You should be coming in from the sides, from behind, hitting people while they're not hitting you. That's what you should be doing. Kusunoki. There's a lot of bests here, guys. There's a lot of bests here. I gotta go with Kusunoki in the best category, and the reason being, again, AoE damage, removing buffs or debuffs from you, from your army. So using Kusunoki with YSG is a tried and true method, and it maximizes your YSG's output of damage because you remove all the debuffs before he fires his off. He has solid stats. Just overall pumping out damage. You can add in the additional skill damage factor on that 4th skill as well. And then also, again, pairing him with another additional skill damage commander like Osmund, like Freddy, things like that. You definitely could use Osmund in the end game. Now, if you're more geared towards Archer, you'll definitely use him. If you're more geared towards infantry or cav, you might likely not, unless you pair him up with, say, a Baybars or something like that, just for the extra AoE damage. But he does pump out really good damage in the open field. You gotta have him as a best. Herman. I'm gonna put him as a better. Herman's more, in my opinion, he's more of a one-on-one kind of guy because of his disable, his silence. He does have one of the highest nukes in the game, like just raw nuke after his expertise is done. One target nuke. He does really well with that, but he's really squishy in the open field, like super squishy. And archers in general are. You could say that for Kusunoki as well. But he does really good damage. He does really, really good damage, and he has that silence effect that is very helpful. You got to have him in the better category. He's usable 100% as a primary. You can use him as a secondary too if you've got a better commander like El Cid or something in that regard, or if you want to pair him up with YSG primary. However you want to do it, you definitely can. You can use him primary, Herman primary, Osmund secondary, Herman primary, Kusunoki secondary, vice versa. He's very versatile. I'm going to put him in the better category though because, again, he's more one target. He's more one target, whereas a lot of these other commanders here have AoE damage and have tankiness when getting swarmed, which is where that goes. And Osmund's kind of in that boat too. They both are really good together, but I got a gut feeling that Herman more is a better than a best. Sun Tzu. I think we all know, and I'm going to put him over here to the side because he is just his own animal. In the Legendary Commander series, everybody was asking, where's Sun Tzu? Where's Sun Tzu? Well, the reason they're asking that is because I kind of view him as a Legendary Commander. I use him so much, even in the end game. He does so much damage. He does so many good things right. His rage generation is amazing. His defense and tankiness is amazing. And it's universal commander, too. I mean, he's got infantry skill tree, or talent tree, but a lot of his skills and the pieces of his skills are universal. You can use him with anybody. So YSG Sun Tzu, Sun Tzu YSG. You can use him with Kusunoki, who's already on this list right beside him. You can use him with Scipio and have a nuking tanky army. You can use him with Barca. You can use him with all kinds of people. Sun Tzu is the man when it comes to, and really is the best epic out of all of these, at least until we get some more data on Kira. Kira might overtake him a little bit just by raw damage capability. But Sun Tzu, just overall, versatility, all the bells and whistles, he is the man. Definitely best. You got to have him. He does everything really well. And then finally we have Eulji. I'm going to put him in the better category just because, again, he's good at a lot of things. The question is, what is that thing? Eulji has a nuke, but he's an attack commander. And then he has a 4 skill that increases 100% normal attack damage. Okay. It's interesting. I mean, I've even thought about pairing him up with Attila because of that 4th skill, 100% normal attack damage, firing off all the time. I don't know. Just thinking about him, right? So I think he's better because he does have a lot of capabilities on the battlefield, and epic infantry is hard to come by, right? I mean, we've got Sun Tzu and then everybody else. I mean, there is none. There's only 2. So I think that he is definitely in the better category. He does damage. He's tanky. He does extra normal damage as well. He can be used on a garrison, which isn't the video for it, but you get my drift. He's versatile. He's good. You should definitely max him at some point. And I would really, again, use this as a tool to know what commanders to max and in what order. Sun Tzu being, again, his own animal. He is the man. And then you talk about, even from the left going right here, those Cav commanders. Osmund's a must max. Kusunoki is a must max. And again, I think this is it. I think this is it. Open field PvP epic commander ranker. We're going to move on, of course, to the rallying version of this. again, we're starting to get into bigger player rankers with epics, so take it for what it is. Whenever I'm making this ranker, you can use them in the earlier game of a later kingdom and be the most effective that you can be, but not necessarily going up against a legendary commander that can do those things a little bit better. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time. Cheers, have a good one. Take care.